Hey guys, and welcome to E3 2015, day 3. Lots of threes going on.
Yep.
But we're here on the show floor, which has been quite a packed day today. We've started off, got a flying start with a game we saw back at GDC, the Games Developer Conference, at our big indie pitch. It's from a guy who called it Zombie Match Defense.
Clearly trying to hit all 3 perfect places of the mobile game triptych, which apparently was something that came out of a bet he had with one of his developer friends, who was trying to say if you could take every single individual element of popular mobile games and smush them together. So we got match 3, tower defense, and obviously zombies.
Obviously zombies.
The art style is actually quite nice, in fairness to it. It looks a little bit Invader Zim to me. Yeah,
very much so. And it's kind of like, it's basically kind of Candy Crush mashed up with Plants vs Zombies.
Yeah.
And there's some really neat little ideas in it. The idea that you get different types of zombies. You have like a sumo zombie that he can't move. Basically, all these zombies are moving alongside, and you have to match different brains. And when you match your brain, then the zombies kill, and you've got to do it before the zombie reaches either side. Yeah, there's some really neat ideas.
I'll be interested to see how it fares when it hits the App Store, because being that generic, deliberately generic, albeit, it's still generic, if you see what I mean. But the look is really, really strong, and I think he's in talks with Apple about featuring it maybe, so we'll see how that works out.
Let's watch it.
After that, we went and had a look at Munch's Odyssey. Is it called Munch's Odyssey or Munch's Quest? I always forget. But the offshoot from the Abe's Odyssey games, last year they released Stranger's Wrath onto mobiles, which we reviewed. Go and see the video up on AppSpy. We weren't super fans of it, because although we love the original game, the problem was the control system.
Yeah, it's a little bit flawed. It's always hard when you're porting a game that was designed for kind of console and PC. Whenever you put it on mobile, it's really tricky to keep that same fluid motion. A lot of people go for the kind of on-screen joystick
They have lots of little tiny touch buttons, and that's the solution they went for with Stranger's Wrath. We've just seen the Munch's Quest, Munch Odyssey, I'll forget every time. And well, it looks great. It looks exactly like the game that you originally saw, to the point where it still has the Microsoft logos at the beginning. It's a totally direct port of it. We played it with an MFI controller, so you got the feeling you were just playing the original game from back in the early 2000s. As far as touchscreen stuff goes, they haven't actually implemented the controls yet, so we don't know if they're going to hit the same kind of problems this time around.
It's hard to know. Yeah, we were playing it with like a console controller, so I mean, it was very much an early build, but it's really cool that they've, the original game came out I think about 14 years ago. So and last year obviously then they had the previous game they were porting to mobile. So in 2 years, 2 games coming over, it's a cool switch that they're making.
If they can make the control system work, we didn't give it a great rating. I think it got a 6 out of 10, Stranger's Wrath. So if they can nail the touchscreen controls, great. If not, nostalgia alone probably isn't going to carry it.
Yeah.
But pushing very much into this century and decade, we just spent about an hour and a half, 2 hours messing around with Oculus.
It was so good. It was really cool. We started off chatting to Max Cohen, he's the director of mobile for Oculus. So he's the guy that's going to take everything that you're seeing with the kind of Oculus is a more stationary thing you'd play on your sofa, and matching it with your smartphone. So I don't know if you guys saw, but back in September, Oculus partnered up with Samsung to make the Gear VR. So we had a go with that, which was pretty cool.
I'd played it a little bit before. It's come along quite a long way in the past 12 months, actually. The idea is that if you've not seen it, you slip a kind of Galaxy Note in the front of the headset, and then it becomes a VR thing. Previously, I played a game where you're just like sitting on a beach looking around, so there wasn't much to it. But they had a couple of really neat little demos. One of which was something for Jurassic World, where you were sitting around looking at a dinosaur coming towards you. It's kind of nice. You can't move still. You don't have the same kind of the half-moon controllers they've just introduced. So it's still very much using the touch pad on the side and the back button. So you're still a bit like this all the time.
Yeah.
You're a bit Professor X, but it's kind of come along a little bit in terms of like the appearance of the game, a little bit less blocky, and it does feel like VR, importantly. I'm not 100% sure, again, how it's going to work in the real world and how social they can make it, because they were going on about trying to make all the VR experiences as social as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can make every VR experience social. I mean, some of the stuff they were talking about was really interesting. So for instance, I was sat in a cinema watching a trailer, and I could look to the right.
A fake
cinema, which happened to be in space on the moon, because why not? It's virtual reality. And there was like a load of cinema seats either side of me, and I was thinking they were empty. and they were like, well, actually, you could look to one side and see your friends one day. So that's kind of a cool idea of social. And I do think, like, obviously not every game can be social. There are going to be.
I think it's kind of a little bit limited. When we saw the trailers for it, as I'm sure you guys did, of the let's watch a game on a kind of massive cinema screen in 3D, people were like, what's the point of that? And when you see it, you get the impression of, it's like being in a cinema, sort of. It's not really the ideal utilization of the technology, I wouldn't think. Although, the Half Moon controllers, those little hand grips you've seen.
Awesome. They were so good.
It makes such a difference. It takes it from being that slightly passive thing where you're looking in on the world with your arms at the side to you can physically see hands in front of you, you can grip, you can pick things up, you can throw them, and suddenly you feel like you're interacting properly with the world. That's a huge deal.
That was amazing, and you could punch things, and you just kind of have them, they're almost like two little joysticks that you can clip up. There's really, really tactile, and that was really fun. I think the really interesting thing about the Samsung Gear VR is the idea that at the moment, the stage that we're at, the screens, like, it can take you so far, but what Max was saying was that in a few years, to get actual real life quality, so this as we're walking around, or you, if you look at the palm of your hand now, they think that's going to be about 16K resolution that's required. Sounds crazy, but he reckons in about 10 years that will be possible on screens, and then of course eventually, hopefully that will filter down into mobile screens, so maybe like 15 years from now. So we've got a rough time window of a sense of potentially having quite real virtual reality.
If that's a thing you want, if you don't mind putting something in front of your face and all your friends running off and leaving you.
Yeah, that is a possibility.
That's what's going to happen. That's all we got up to today. We're about to head off and do slightly more social things to set up one of the Pocket Gamer events, but we will be back tomorrow, or at least I will, because you're running away.
I'll be back in the morning.
All right,
I'll be back in the morning. You can't get rid of me that easily.
Fair enough. Well, another day of diaries will be coming soon, so stick with us, like, subscribe, you know the score. See you tomorrow.
Awesome. See you guys.